Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Carmine from New York. What is the title of this episode? Not Your Father's Photography? Well, it's true. I remember growing up in the 60s and 70s when somebody took out a camera. It was for one thing. It was a birthday, a wedding, an anniversary, or the 4th of July. And it was going to be pictures of people blowing out a cake, opening up a Christmas present, standing against the wall at a wedding, or sitting at a table. That was about it. No one, at least in my family and probably your family, ever even thought about taking your camera out and taking some photographic art pictures. Okay? This is just one example from this morning. I want to read you, it's short, it's one or two sentences from the Nashville Film Institute, NFI. Very famous, very prestigious school in Tennessee. How does an institute like NFI, Nashville Film Institute, how do they define photographic art? Well, this is right from their website. Photographic art overlaps with the landscape, portraiture, and other photography types. It is defined by the artist's vision and approach to get distinct photographs. That's the key word, distinct photographs. Unlike other forms of photography, fine art photography is about capturing what the artist sees instead of what the camera sees. It is just another tool for artists to produce their art. NFI, in a nutshell, has defined what I do, photographic art. I would much rather photograph a close-up of a rusted bolt and a nut on an old pier than to photograph somebody blowing out a birthday cake. That's just the kind of photographer I am. Now, do you have to take photographs of events? Yes. To make a living? Yes. But in my leisure, what do I love? What is my passion? Is photographic art. Okay. What is this camera sitting in front of me? This is a 13-year-old Olympus DSLR. It is the Olympus E620 12 megapixel DSLR. It's not mirrorless. It has one of the best flip out screens. Don't forget this is 13 years old, right? One of the best flip out screens they had back in the day. Let's go over some of the highlights of this camera. This camera has in-body image stabilization. This camera has IBIS, and it was $800 when it came out. That was pretty remarkable in 2009. That meant that every lens that you put on it didn't need optical stabilization because the camera had IBIS, in-body image stabilization. I just love that screen. Oh, pop-up flash. We'll get to that in a second. Whoop. Okay, let's keep going. It's a 4/3 sensor. It's not a micro 4/3. It's different. It's a little bit different in size. This is 4/3. The mount, the lens mount, is a 4/3 lens mount. It's different than micro 4/3. You can't use these lenses directly on a micro 4/3 camera. You would need an adapter. Okay, let's keep going. The native ISO is a gorgeous ISO 100. Nice and low, beautiful. That's what I use mostly, not all the time. If you want grain-free, noise-free photographs, But that's not what I'm looking for when I do art photographs. The max ISO, 3200. Articulating screen, like we mentioned, right? It uses a CF card, the nice big CF card. What's the difference generally between a CF card and an SD card? Well, a CF card is more robust. It's a little bit tougher. The case, the shell, it's a little bit tougher. The SD card is a little bit more fragile because it's wafer thin. Okay, that's just basically the differences why some manufacturers of cameras went with a CF card instead of an SD card, because it's more robust. It could take a licking. Okay, it shoots RAW and JPEG, built-in flash. Okay, when it came out, it was $800, but the photographs you're about to see, the artistic photographs you're about to see, were all taken today with this camera. You can get these in mint like new condition for $198 delivered, including tax, including shipping from Japan to the United States, for $198 with 2 lenses. The kits back in the day, 2009, some of the kits were sold body and 2 lenses. That's what I picked up for $198 from Japan, delivered, and they used FedEx from Tokyo to New York, and it came in 3 days. Amazing. Okay, so we talked about the camera. We talked about its specs, as we like to call it. We talked about what's photographic art, as defined not by me, but defined by the Nashville Film Institute, a highly acclaimed photography center of learning. Okay, let's look at the 15 or so art photographs that I took today with this camera. And I just want to tell you one other thing. The JPEGs you're about to see came out of this camera, unprocessed after they came out of the camera. They'll be right up on the screen, unprocessed after they came out of the camera. Why am I repeating that? Because I used the art filter that's built into this camera. You have, I think with this camera, you have about 6 or 7 choices of different art styles. Okay, this is a little hint. This is a little preview of what you're about to see. Okay, so remember, art photography is what the artist sees, not the camera. Okay, guys? So let's look at the 15 or so art photographs right now. And remember, these are not your father's photographs. Bye-bye.